It's, in this day and age, obviously, social media now is so widespread that people, I feel, I'd like to hear your view on it as well, that a lot of people nowadays are just hitting for celebrity uh, lecturers, speakers, and they're not very particular on have has this individual studied, what have they studied, are they indeed um, uh, experts in what they're talking about. And it just seems now that people are just following the one who has the biggest YouTube following, or the biggest, or who can say the best thing, or has the best Snapchat, Instagram messages. So I think we're in the age of celebrity sheikhs, and that in itself isn't a bad thing as long as the sheikh is someone of knowledge. But I can't. What I'm seeing a lot around a lot of the millennial generation is that they're just following people who really should not be listened to. And historically, perhaps if they were talking like they're talking right now, they'd probably be flung into a prison, perhaps because they're talking outside of their lane. So I just want to hear, what your views are on that.
Religion has become entertainment for people, but that's because people are just seeking entertainment. People now, humanity as a whole, has lost something, has lost something about their substantial nature. The Prophet said, "Lestu min ad-dad wal ad-dadu minni, wad-dad huwa al-la'b wal-lahu." He said, I'm not part of entertainment, nor is entertainment part of me. Like when I hear like some students, some people saying that go and listen to that shit, but he's not really that interested, not really. He said, then go and watch a movie instead. Go watch somebody doing, go watch some Eddie Murphy stand up. Like you want entertainment, go and watch the entertainers. You want Dean, then take it seriously.
Yeah.
It's not about. It's not like the khatib. He's got to be cracking jokes after jokes after jokes. That's not what the khutbah is about. That's not what a dars is about. But that's what people are about now. People are just looking for it. Like the whole religion is just a soundbite here and a soundbite there. Why? Because our attention spans. Because we want to sit and watch Netflix all night long. But then my religion just a WhatsApp message. Religion is just a WhatsApp message. So because people have sunk and people have lost substance within themselves, they're trying now to pull. So now the sheikh is the celebrity. He's got to be the entertainer. He's got to be who's the entertainer, and only then are people captured. But that's because of people. That's where people are plummeted to, and that's the levels they've dropped to. And sheikh should not change for that. People are not should not change for that. And you want to come and take the legacy of the prophets, like marhaba, take it. You want to have a 1 hour stand-up session? Go and watch Eddie Murphy. Off you go. Go and find something else.
Inshallah. If people nowadays don't know who to listen to, who not to listen to, what advice would you give people listening now of how to gauge whom to give their time, who should they follow, which sheikh should they follow? Is there anything simple point that they can use to work out, should I give my time, or should I put my akhirah in the hands of this individual or not?
The simple sign is al-alim al-amil. That person of knowledge that you're looking at has to be somebody substance to himself. He lives what he preaches. He lives what he preaches. Right? He carries something about it. He carries something about that knowledge within him. That's the clearest way. And then on top of that, right, the way of sanad, the way of transmission of this religion is through sanad. Hadith is sanad. Sanad is a chain of transmission. And the scholars of hadith and muhaddith want to different. What is a sanad? Dhikr al-rijal. Dhikr al-rijal. It's just a people. It's a list of names. Al-Bukhari took it from this person, took it from that person, took it from that person. Back to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So when you look at celebrity entertainers on the sheikh scene, don't look at who's the most entertaining. Don't look at those who have the most following. Look at who are the people behind him. Look at who are the people behind him. Who is he taken from? And what are those that he's taken from saying about him? If he's taken from reliable, known, trustworthy people, and they themselves are saying, take from that person, and bismillah. If not, if he's just somebody who just appeared in the middle of nowhere, but mashallah, you can keep talking for an hour or 2 hours. then just stay away from it, because it needs verifying, it needs tazkiyah, it needs certifying. I just, again, to mention, like recently over the last few months or so, I've been doing a lot more sessions on this. For me personally, my preference, Bismillah, let me sit here in a classroom, sit here in my home, book open, let's study and read. That's all. I forget all of this. Forget all of it. That's my preference. But because the fitness spread so widespread, under instruct, because people are seeking, got nowhere to go and find. So under instruction from some of our teachers, you need to go and start doing this. You need to start making a presence. Why? Why am I on Facebook? Why am I on this? Not because I want to live my life on there, because people are living their lives in a virtual world. It's to pull people out of that world into a real world. It's just to pull people out of that world into a real world. That's the purpose of that.
That's Ajib. I remember Habib Ali Jeffrey mentioning this idea of social media and how scholars traditionally educated should be going on and using social media. And he said he was saying live on Egyptian TV how initially he was very against the idea of going on social media, Facebook, and this is his own words. He goes, "Ana a'rif al-shabab." He said, I thought I knew the youngsters, the young people, because he spent many years with young people and listening to them. And it was Habib Muhammad Saqaf who actually encouraged him, look, go to social media and just try it out. And he did. And he said that he realized that he didn't understand the youth. His idea that he understood was quickly disappeared. And he realized that there's a lot more that he needs to understand. So that kind of prompted him to go into social media. And mashallah, I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And the fact also that so many youngsters, like quite rightly said, Sheikh Harun, a lot of young people now are living their lives on their phones. For a lot of people, this lockdown is difficult because they're not seeing and being around people. For a great deal of our youngsters, them being in cyberspace is more easier than being in the real space, because they can just talk to more people. There's more people to talk to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and these type of things. And sadly, a lot of charlatans and fakes and dajajala have now entered into the realm of social media and are talking about Islam, that people who should be talking about Islam and have spent time of their lives with scholars to learn about Islam, that they now have like you said, been forced into this arena now, just so that people can see the difference between the fake and the real. And you had a quite interesting talk about the fake scholar. I just want to know a bit more about that talk you had on YouTube.
Did I?
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. About the fake sheikh or the fake scholar or something like this. It was titled.
Did I do that?
I did see, unless it was a refutation of you, which may be a different matter, but that would be, obviously, that's not the case at all. I can vouch for you for that, inshallah ta'ala. But yeah, there was something. Okay, maybe that's a good question. How can people nowadays, you've mentioned at certain points that they can look at, inshallah, but should somebody already be absorbed in following certain celebrity sheikhs, how can somebody advise them to come off from that and see that there's other more deeply grounded individuals who are more deserving of their time? So how do we take this guy or girl on YouTube, on Facebook, and maybe advise them to come off and listen to traditionally trained طلاب العلم or scholars?
About providing the alternatives, let them see, let them expose them, let them see, like people of true guidance. And then once they come into that, once they perhaps heard the video, heard the lecture, sat in a class and so on, then inshallah, Allah is Hadi al-Qulub. Allah is the one who changes people's hearts. He's Muqallib al-Qulub. In all of this, we should never forget the divine elements in all of this. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ultimately is the one who will change people's hearts. For us, it's just put a message out there. For us, it's just to share something. That person may go into, listen to Habib Umar, our Mashaykh, and say that he's just a charlatan. There's something close in his heart. Allah has not allowed him to see. No difference to Abu Jahl and Abu Lahab around the Prophet. There you had Aqha al-Arab, the most fluent and eloquent Arabs, and they understood the Prophet more than we can ever. But there was something in their heart that stopped them. There's something in their hearts. So we just open up, invite, show, point the way towards it, and then leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then we shouldn't get depressed if people aren't doing the they're taking out the advice or going where we're pointing to. In the end, it's the ليس لك من الأمر شيء. You have no control over this matter.
One more thing, inshallah. Somebody's asked about are there any websites or that offer more in-depth explanations or easily accessible websites in which I can go to learn my deen from if there's nothing in my locality? For example, people who don't live nearby, for example, to micromadrasa, people live further away. Are there any websites or scholars or anything online that you recommend I can go to and benefit from?
What I would always say, and it goes back to a point that was touched upon before, most places, particularly in the UK, even if you ask me, I can point you towards someone and say, go to him, go to that person. So I'm averse to the idea of pointing people to a website, and because that's not how you take guidance. So what I would advise instead is, if the question is part of listening to this, get in touch with the organizers, leave your details, point out where you're from, and inshallah we'll point you towards trustworthy, reliable people in that area, because there's enough ways of accessing it now. Wallahu a'lam.
Somebody's asking a question about finances. How should they gain money? How much money do they need to go to study in these places? Should they? You were advised by Sheikh Hamza, and maybe this individual asking this question came on late, but you were advised by Sheikh Hamza to save up 6 months. Would that still be the case now? Save up 6 months of money and then go?
Perhaps, yeah. Allah yatakallaf rizq talib al-ilm. Allah will take care of that person, inshallah.
Could you translate that, what you've just said, so people can get that from what you heard, what you just said, sorry?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take care and provide for the person who goes out and seeks his religion. Like one thing, like when we were studying, you saw that clearly. It was so clear that when you give up everything, the comforts of your home and your life and so on, and you just end up in the middle of nowhere, like you're in a foreign land, and that's what it was like. You're in a foreign land, you don't know anybody there. You see ajaib taking place, you see wonders taking place, miracles taking place. And that's, I can testify, but one of my teachers, he said, every talib ilm has experienced a karama. Every student of knowledge will have somewhere down the line experienced some miraculous event that's happened to him. And I can testify to that. So just a small amount, and inshallah Allah will take care of it.
Mm-hmm. And if a sister wanted to go away and study, would that be different to a male? Are the issues around mahrams now, or what?
Yeah, but there's also the fact that most of the madaris across the Muslim world, most of the places of learning, they're more geared towards male students. There are places where women can go and study. Like in Cairo, for example, if somebody wants to learn Arabic, there's enough facilities for women to go and learn. Somebody wants to go and study, like in Tarim, like you have Dar al-Zahra over there. So there are facilities there, but yeah, there are shari'i considerations, there are legal considerations that she has to bear in mind.
Inshallah. Jazakumullah.